MvM is one of my favorite game modes in TF2. Go away! You fucking creep! Right next to upward payload. It's cool to just hang out with friends and shoot robots mindlessly and get rewarded at the end for no reason. Some random f*** on Australian f*** this guy, other than you shot robots and paid. It's also one of the most toxic game modes, so, you know, might as well go in prepared by using these loadouts so you don't get yelled at. Except for Pyro, because there's no real good answer for him, I'll be honest. Scout's primary job in Man vs. Machine is to collect money and not really go too much on the offensive, so the primary doesn't really matter as much as the secondary and melee. But the weapons I personally use are the Soda Popper and the Force of Nature. The Soda Popper is good for going more on the offensive due to its like triple jump ability, or quadruple jump, I don't remember. The multi-jump ability is also really good for escaping a lot of bots if they start targeting you. The only issue with the Soda Popper is it doesn't have the knockback, which I guess could be a good thing? I don't know, it depends if you have a sniper or anyone who relies on accuracy. It also doesn't have as much DPS as the Force of Nature. The multi-jump ability kind of makes up for this. The Force of Nature is good for knocking back bots like the scout bots or anyone else who's interfering with you collecting the money. But this can also be a bad thing if you have a sniper because they want to actually hit their headshots instead of having to look around and scramble to hit the heads. Some good secondaries for scouts are the Mad Milk and the Bonk Atomic Punch. The Mad Milk is good for providing health for you and your teammates, and it has an upgrade that puts slow on enemies when they're hit with it, which is an actual game changer if you have a bot scout on the run. Plus, it recharges over time, so you don't need to run around and find an ammo box. The only bad thing is that the recharge time is super slow, but it can be upgraded. The Bonk Atomic Punch is good for running into hordes that would kill you normally, because it gives you invincibility. It also recharges over time, so you don't need to find ammo boxes. The only cons are that there's a lot of knockback, and there's no health or support given to your team if you use it. I guess if you count money as support, then, you know, never mind. The only real beneficial melee I could find was the Fan of War, because it marks enemies on death when you hit them, which is a guaranteed mini crit on hit, which is also good for teamwork and support. Pyro is one of my favorite classes in Team Fortress 2, and that's just because of the sheer amount of power that he holds. Some of the primary weapons that I use on Pyro for Man vs. Machine are the stock flamethrower and the flog. The reason for using the stock flamethrower would be air blasting the bots back or air blasting crit rockets and crit pipes back at the bots. Plus, it has really consistent damage per second, which is really important for a game mode like Man vs. Machine. The only cons is that it has really low ammo capacity, so you'll need to upgrade that as soon as you can. Another primary I use is the flog because it has better DPS than the stock flamethrower and it tears down tanks. It also has huge DPS when it's charged, but it is also really inconsistent when it comes to DPS. You also can't air blast, and the oomph ability takes forever to charge. But when you do charge it, you get huge damage output. Pyro doesn't have many good secondaries, or many secondaries at all, so the only good one is really just the gas passer. There's an upgrade called Explosive Gas that allows you to kill all Uber medics and other robots in just an instant. If an enemy is hit with your flames, they explode. This upgrade's kinda overpowered. It also charges really fast because it scales with damage, so if you deal damage, it'll recharge faster. The only issue is taco bots and other people don't like it at all, and also it has really bad DPS against like giants and tanks. There's only really one good melee for Pyro, and that's the Power Jack. It's good at repositioning and getting you back to battle from spawn, and also you could heal on kill if you decide to use your melee for some reason. But as Pyro, you'll pretty much never use it for actual damage output because you have a flamethrower. Soldier is one of the classes that I don't really have much experience with, so take a lot of what I say with a grain of salt. For primaries, I'm pretty sure you should be using either the Black Box or the Beggar's Bazooka. You should be using the Black Box because every robot you hit heals you for 15 health, which is really useful if your medic is fucking ass. But it also has a small mag, and that means less damage output, so, you know, pros and cons. The alternative is the Beggar's Bazooka, which is great at taking down tanks and one of the best spam weapons. It also has the highest damage per second compared to every other rocket launcher, but has a bit of a higher skill floor, so it would take a bit of practice to use effectively. Stock also works if you want. It's pretty much the same as the Black Box, but you don't regain health and you have one more rocket. For secondaries, you should be either using the Buff Banner or the Conch Shell. The Buff Banner grants mini crits to you and all nearby enemies when you use it, but you have to charge it first by dealing damage. Mini crits can allow you to one-shot many of the small bots and also speed up how fast the tanks will explode. Plus, you can upgrade the duration of the Buff Banner. Although compared to the Conch Shell, you know the thing, you'll have no passive effect, which means you'll be easier to kill. As for the Conch Shell, you get a speed boost and regain health on bots that you hit for you and nearby teammates. Your whole team is able to heal themselves without milk or other things that would otherwise need to heal them, like a medic, and it combos really well with the Beggar's Bazooka. The only issue is you don't get a damage boost, and tanks will take longer to explode because of that. As Soldier, you won't really use your melee that often, so it really doesn't matter all too much. I just recommend using the disciplinary action so that you can give your teammates and yourself a speed boost in case your whole team gets wiped and you have to rush back. The only con with that one is it's kind of ugly. Engineer is the class that I main the most in MvM, so I'm pretty familiar with this loadout, but I could be wrong. For a primary weapon, you'll want to use the Rescue Ranger. This is because you'll be able to heal your sentries from far away in case you're running back from spawn because some random guy used your teleporter.
Wow, that's awesome.
And you'll be able to snatch your sentry from far away to save it from sentry busters. The only issue is the damage output is lackluster and your mag is a bit smaller, but that's not the most important part. The most important part is your sentry. For a secondary, you'll want to use the Wrangler, because when you use the Wrangler, your sentries take less damage and they shoot faster, with the only downside being that you give it ammo less fast and heal it less fast, but that's not like it matters. This is especially useful for tanks or big robots, and runaway scouts, or anything outside of your turret's range. For a melee, you'll either want Stock Wrench or the Jag. The only difference between the two is the swing speed and the construction rate. The Jag takes one more extra swing to upgrade your turret, while the stock one is just, stock. I personally use the stock one because I have a funny set with it where it tracks my kills, but it's all up to preference, honestly. Or if your team says, hey, why are you using the Jag, you a freaking loser, then maybe you should listen to them. Alright, well that's gonna do it for this video. I'll do a second part with all the classes, but for now, I gotta get something out, Subscribe, comment, all that, the deal. You've watched YouTube videos before, probably. It also helps in, like, the algorithm, And also subscribe for my cute cat who's interrupting this recording, because she loves attention. And yeah, I'll see you in another one, probably.